right, everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of Crazy Bookish Asians. As always, here we are again discussing the book that we picked for the month. And my name is Emmy. I'll be hosting tonight's episode tonight because we're filming at night, but I don't know when this will be uploaded. But yeah, so I picked today's book. But before we go into the actual book itself, I just want everyone to introduce themselves. Starting off with Elle, you go first.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elle.
I'm Lisa.
And I am Lainey.
All right, thank you, ladies. So the book that I picked for October is a book by a Canadian author, and it is called Rouge. The author is Mona Awad, and as you guys can see from what the two of us are wearing, Lainey and I, we're wearing red in honor of the book, wearing our red lippies. Well, most of us anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, so the reason I picked this book is well, it's October, so I thought I'd pick something spooky. Although I will say that this book I don't really think is a horror, although it was nominated as a uh, under the Goodreads horror best horror book for 2023. I think this book is more of a magical realism and dark comedy, I would say, with maybe one scene that I would consider horror. But I guess this is something we can discuss as well later. But yeah, so I'll talk about the book itself. Just a quick synopsis. It's about Mirabelle, or Belle for short, who's a sales associate in a dress store in Montreal, Montreal, Canada. And when her mother passed away, the mother was living, Noelle, the mother was living in Southern California. She ended up going back for the funeral, and that's basically where everything starts. Because during the 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 funeral, I guess that's when she discovered this spa like establishment, I guess, called Rouge, and that's where her adventure starts pretty much. And it talks a lot about the beauty industry and all that. And Mona Awad, who actually, just as a fun fact, not only is she Canadian, we went to the same university, and not only the same university, but we went to the same college. And in one of her interviews, she talked about a professor that I also had in poetry and poetics. So I thought it was such a small world in a way that we ended up having the same poetry professor. So I don't know if that actually changed what I felt about the book. But anyways, so I guess we'll start off with the discussion of the book now. And just as a warning, we do spoilers when we do these discussions. And also just as a warning, whether we love this book or not, these are just our own personal opinions. It says nothing about the author or anything like that. This is really what we just feel about the book. So yeah, we'll start off the discussion with I think we'll start off with the person who did right the who hosted
Last
the last
box.
episode, which is
Yeah.
Lisa. And what we're gonna do is basically just say our opinion, whether we like the book or not, what we loved about it, what we didn't like, and if you guys can even do some quotes and stuff like that, that'll be great. Okay,
Oh,
Lisa.
no quotes from me because I have no notes. But
All right, that's okay.
so I normally don't read this type of book at all. And I, like Emmy, I would not consider this horror. It was creepy. And I wouldn't consider it an easy read for me because half the book, like about three-quarters of the book, I totally did not understand because it was a lot of analogy, and it was like a thinking book for me, which I don't like to do when I read. Not, I would like to not think when I read. I just want to be like I don't want to have to like, what the hell does that mean, right? But so the writing style was not something that I enjoyed because I couldn't really follow the book in the beginning because it was a lot of her going in and out of her madness, and her grieving and the process of it. And I was just trying to keep it all straight. So I had a kind of a hard time in about three-quarters of the book. But I didn't find it scary. I didn't find it like I didn't have like nightmares about it or anything like that. Because I was thinking, because when Emmy said, "Oh, it's horror," I'm like, Oh, great, right. I hate those type of books, right? So, it was, yeah, it was definitely creepy. There was a lot of like things you had to sort of think about, and it was based off of, I guess, Snow White, the fairy tale. So you could relate to a lot of that, like the mirrors. What I didn't understand was because I don't like Tom Cruise. So I was like, what the hell, man, right? Why is he in this book, right? And I just did not understand it. And the fact that the other guy, the surfer dude, Tag, like basically was half naked throughout most of the book, I was like, what the heck is that about, right? And then you had Hud Hudson, is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
had Hudson.
yeah, that that was kind of funny. So about, I was trying to understand the whole beauty industry. I know that she was trying to take aim at that, how people like love their serums and their, I'm like that too. I like my cream and, trying to moisturize and stay young or keep my face, smooth. But it was like, yeah, it was pretty brutal that way. And there was like maybe one scene that was horror, like maybe horror a little bit, which is that scene with the jellyfish that was being eaten up, spoiler alert, eaten apart
Spoiler.
by those weird twins. So yeah, about three-quarters of the book, I was like, oh, this is really painful, right? And then at the end, I finally was like, okay, I can get on this, right? And when it was kind of like what I felt was like normal writing, I'm not saying that what she wrote was abnormal, but it's just her writing style is not something that I'm used to, right? So the ending was more like something that I could more relate to, and I didn't have to think too much about it. So I kind of enjoyed more the like the last part of the book. I would say like the last 10% of the book. Um, but overall, it was one of those books where, yeah, I really had to sort of think and I had to slodge through it. Um, and think about all the analogies and all the like how it relates to like the beauty industry and trying to understand some of the characters and why they were there. So it was a lot of thinking on my part, which I don't like to do when I read a book. Just throwing it out there. But it was totally a different type of book, and yeah, I didn't really understand like Tag's sort of involvement in it. Like I didn't really like what was his was he the boyfriend of the mother? Like I didn't really understand that. Like it just wasn't really clearly fleshed out. Like I didn't really understand his part in the book. And then also Hud Hudson, like you kind of understood sort of why he was there, that he was like trying to save her, but he didn't really save her. But what I didn't understand was that she was talking really weird, like she was having like psychosis, right? But at the end she seemed normal again. I'm like, okay, so how did that happen, right? Was it because of the fact that she refused sorry, spoiler alert, she refused their final like you're the anointed one or whatever it is at the end. I'm not sure because then she was able to speak normal again and she seemed normal, like not in a psychosis. What I thought was really odd was at the end that Hud seemed to be sort of like that, ended up kind of being like that, and I didn't understand that. So it's too bad that it wasn't more fleshed out, that part of it, because I would have like had wanted to understand what Hud was going through too. So the guys that were in the story, they just seem to be thrown in there, and then you get Tom Cruise, and it's just like, what the hell is he on there for? And her obsession with him, because I don't find him to be the epitome of beauty or anything like that. It's like it's Tom Cruise, man. But anyway, so yeah, it was a rough read for me. Because I didn't understand three-quarters of it. Like I really had to think about it. It's only towards the end where it was easier for me. Yeah. So, but I finished it. That's all I can say. I finished it. So it was an interesting read for me. It was something very different that I would normally not read. So thank you for opening my eyes, Emmy. Two
Yay.
thumbs up.
Well,
Thanks,
thank you for
Lisa.
finishing it. I do have answers to some of your stuff, but I'll say it in the end when we're all discussing it, I guess. So,
I
whew.
mean, definitely not a book I would have DNF just because, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
just, so it's a different book than what I normally read. That's all.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Lysol. All right. So
You're
now
welcome.
we have either Elle or Lainey who wants to go next.
Elle, do you want to go?
No? Okay.
Or
Uh, sure. We'll save the ladies in red for the end. Is that what it is?
Lady in red.
In red.
Um, funny. I am kind of like Lisa to a lot of the things that you brought up. It's this was a very odd read for me. Like it was a bizarre read from
Mm-hmm.
beginning to end. And I guess yes, I have notes, but even as I'm looking at my notes and then hearing your thoughts, Lisa, I was like, yes, that's right. Okay, yes, I should bring that up too. Um, but I guess I'll just kind of start with the notes that I made, and then I guess kind of like also touch on what Lisa was talking about, because as soon as you were saying it, Lisa, like I said, I was like, oh yeah, that part about. Anyways, um, yeah. So this is a it's interesting how this is a really such a scary jab at the skincare industry. I didn't really think about it as the beauty industry because for me the beauty industry really covers like the makeup, the hair, and all that. So really, I think for me it's the skincare um and it highlights for me what women put themselves or put ourselves through,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the to get that perfect skin, all in the name of beauty, right? Um, because if I think of even like Asian women, for example, especially in Asia, where like whitening cream is so
Mm-hmm.
popular, right? To get that Caucasian look. And that is just one aspect of the skincare industry. So, but I know this is more around really the whole thing. And like Lisa said, because like I look at my counter, and then I look at all the skincare products that I have, and I was like, holy cow, I'm the same. like, I am like, I am just as guilty, but I think what kind of made me feel a little better is like mine felt basic compared to Belle's like routine or like the her whole her whole process around skincare.
Mm-hmm.
Mine feels so basic. It's like I'm like Lisa. I'm also like, okay, I got my serum, my toner, but like she has like two, three kinds of serum, two, three kinds of like whatever. Um, and the scary part is like those products in the book, they're not like, I know they're not fiction. There are actually
Yeah,
skincare
there's some of them are
products like
real. Yeah, I
that,
think. Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
things to do with collagen infused, like, all this mineral infused from the bottom of the ocean, like algae, whatever, right? So that's the scary part to actually see it written in that page that way, like seeing all this skincare and knowing that they're not fake, knowing that they're real. So, um, but I think so in terms of the character, I actually didn't like Belle or her mother till the end. Um, I think nothing was redeeming about them. I hate, like, sorry to say that. And to a point, okay, this is gonna sound mean. Um, for me, I would have been accepting of the ending where Belle had the same demise as the one of the characters in the spa, as Slick. I mean, for me,
Mm.
I was kind of expecting that's how she's gonna end, and I was like, then that's very Stephen King, very like very horror like ending. But then when she somehow got redeemed because she was still able to keep her thoughts, and I'm like, ha, like did she really deserve? I mean, I know it's so evil, but then in my head, it's like, did she really deserve that redemption? But I guess Mona felt she did because she was the main character. But I actually didn't like her character at all. Um, the I didn't really enjoy her thought process. It was almost pitiful. But then as soon as I said that in my head, I'm like, okay, now I'm passing judgment. You know what I mean? It was such a weird thing that's like kind of goes back and forth in my head. I'm like, okay, it's like women like I've always feel weird, like, as a woman judging another woman because of whatever their choices. But I always feel like it's not my place. Probably overthinking it, but I think that's just where my mind went when the whole time I was reading it. Um, like I said, it's a very odd read, and like Lisa, I didn't understand the obsession with Tom Cruise. I think there were better actors to be obsessed over, like but but then I guess it was in keeping in the time that it was in. It was what, the 80s, when, like, the what's that movie? The Top Gun was, like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
right? But
Hmm.
that's how I judge. And then I guess you're right. I think back then, like, Tom Cruise, I guess, I mean, I did find Tom Cruise pretty, like, around that time. So but then his recurring, like, presence throughout, I was like, okay, that was just odd. Overall, really, I think when I was reading this, I can't help thinking, this, for me, the whole read feels like a Twilight Zone meets Death Becomes Her. I don't know if you guys remember that movie from the 90s.
Bruce
I love that
Willis.
Ooh.
movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
it's kind of like Twilight Zone meets Death Become Her, and then with a touch of Eyes Wide Shut, just because of Tom Cruise, I think. And then
Okay.
that movie.
So I will say the author herself actually did say that she described her book as a Snow White meets Eyes Wide Shut. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
actually
So
going to ask you
Which
guys
makes
if you agree with
sense.
that. So yeah, I'm glad you guys saw
I
that too. Yeah.
I
do,
do. Yeah, I
right?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you take out all the sex scenes from that, like the orgy scene from Eyes Wide Shut, that has the feel of it. I think that, I guess that was Mona's intent, to kind of lay out that feeling that throughout you're like, what is happening? Like, it's almost that surreal feeling that you're kind of hovering over things. But yes, that's what it is, right? Um, and then I think for me, yes, at the heart of it, I think this is a stab at the skincare. But I think it also really, but I think it's the root behind that, like the obsession with the skincare, right? Our obsession like, our issue with vanity, our, like, obsession with just having that youthful look. Oh, and then I guess, like, throughout, I keep thinking of that, that Al Pacino scene from the Devil's Advocate, when he was laughing and says, vanity, my favorite sin of all, right? So that, I almost kind of see, I can almost hear Al Pacino laughing in my head, like, when we talk about that. Um, yeah, like, really talk about our obsession with physical look, right? And I think that's
Hmm.
why I didn't like any of the characters, because really Mona approached those characters, and really that's the only thought you hear, really, for me, like, about their thoughts around their looks and their, like, how, like, the Belle was trying to be like her mother, and then the mother who's, like, indifferent and don't, like, anyways. I think, like, part of it being odd. Oh, I don't know if you get, first of all, I was worried when the first, was it the chapter, the prologue was in second voice or second person voice. I'm like, oh no. I was like, I was worried. I was like, is this how it's gonna read? Like, it's a second person voice. Like, you thought it was this, and then you assumed it's gonna be this. I'm
All
like,
right.
ah. But then I think it was just the beginning. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that was just the prologue. So, like, whew, okay, like because that got me worried. Like, and I agree. It's really not horror. It's just creepy. I think the whole book is just
Weird,
creepy,
weird and creepy. Yeah.
right? It's just weird.
Mm.
And then I think, I mean, kind of like along the same vein as Lisa. For me, this is too artsy for my taste. I guess the whole book, right? And I think it's this. I feel the same way about, like, how some of the contemporary art hit me, um, in the sense that I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting out of it, and if I'm not getting out of it, I kind of feel dumb. I was like, am I supposed to pick that? And you know what I mean, like. And I don't know if I'm getting what I'm supposed to be getting out of it. Because, like I said, it was like, so then sometimes I'm, like, scratching my head. And then I was scratching my head literally and proverbially. I was like, hmm,
Too
okay.
much
I was like,
thinking.
yes, right. I knew that a lot of the metaphors gonna fly over my head, because I felt like that about some of the literature I read during school. Like, how, like, when it came to school discussion, like, when talk about the book, and then all this, like, smart folks in our classroom talking about how they got this because of what this person said. I was like, Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like pretending I'm also getting what they're getting, but in fact, I wasn't getting. I wasn't understanding what they're saying. And even that ending, I guess that ending, like like Lisa mentioned, what happened to Hud. I guess in my head, okay, I guess it's fitting that Hud in my head. I don't know, maybe I misunderstood it. You guys feel free to tell me. Because to me, the way it ended, I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh, he succumbed to the same thing that like I guess he was trying to
Hmm.
save Belle from, right?
From, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the only consolation for him is because it was near the end already, so he was only impacted slightly. But he still kind of lost his mind, so now it's up to Belle what to rescue him and then reverse it. I guess it's Belle's turn now to save him. But
Well, they did mention it takes, I think, three sessions for them to really
right, so
get
it sounds
like
like he only had one,
you
right? He
only
only
had
had
one.
one
And I think
session,
she
right?
mentioned that before, like you're still savable because you only when even when Bell had two
Yeah,
sessions only, that you
yeah,
could sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
reverse it, I guess. Like
I think
still.
so. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
even that, but I don't know when he managed to break into her house, grab one of the mannequins, and like So I was like, okay, is that supposed to be metaphor? Am I supposed to be like? It's like, am I? It's supposed to be a version of Belle. But anyways, I'm like, how did that happen? And you're right. Like I agree with Lisa. Kind of like me. Like I, I, I kind of didn't get tagged whatever his name is. Like his purpose in it. But I was confused because how with is it? I wonder if it was just because Belle was slowly losing her mind. That's why Sylvia came across a certain way. But then the Sylvia at the end, was that the right Sylvia after all? Was that the real
Hmm.
Sylvia? So I just assumed that that's really how she is. But Belle kind of misread
Her
her,
intentions, yeah.
yeah, or something.
It seemed like almost like a 180 or a 360, like a flip, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in the
So
beginning, she
yeah, yeah.
seemed like, like this evil stepmother, but she really wasn't in the end or
I
something.
don't
I don't
know.
know. It was
Yeah,
weird.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. And then I think, yeah, the only one I really liked was the grandmother. She was a little odd, but at least I understood the grandmother. Like, so until any scene that she was in. But yeah, overall it was a very odd read for me. So I think that's it. I know now I talked quite a bit. So
No, that's
Ah,
great. That's great.
that's good.
All right. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you, Elle. So
Thank
now
you.
we have Miss Lainey.
Hi. Okay, first of all, this book is very Emmy. Like I didn't expect
Oh,
I
shut
I
up.
didn't expect anything less, so I kind of knew it would be that vein.
Get
I'm
out.
I'm conflicted because I did hate everybody, but I felt like it was also intentional that she wrote it that way, that
mm,
you kind of hate everybody and you're like, and I feel like it's because of the result of the industry that it kind of they were made, they're just people. um it really frustrated me the first part. Like I there's just the imagery, I just felt like I did feel like it was trying too hard, as everybody mentioned, to be artsy. Like I feel like everything, the jellyfish, like how the Tom Cruise, call me Seth. I had to actually look up what Seth, like if there's like a character Seth that's important. I feel like I'm like, is it like a Greek
oh, right.
mythology
You
or
you don't know
something?
if it's got a meaning or not,
Yeah.
right?
I'm like, and there must be like, is that a Greek mythology? Oh, it means the anointed one. I'm like, is that what she's trying to do when the guy keeps
Oh, is
saying,
that what it means, really?
I,
Oh, see,
yeah, I looked it up. It's
it just
like, call
felt
me
so
Seth.
random, right?
Call me
Really?
Seth. I'm like,
Huh.
Seth must mean something. I'm like, I thought maybe it meant like demon or something in another language, and in another, like, I don't know, mythical story. I actually like, so it got me that way because I kind of knew she was trying, like, everything meant something. So, I mean, I got that. I got that out of it. I mean, I felt bad that I hated it. Okay, I didn't hate it. Okay, I didn't hate, but again, more more frustrated because, but again, I also know that it was intentional, and I'm glad. If I didn't, this is a book I could have easily DNF'd, and I'm glad I did it because everything was tied together at the end, which I think you would have missed the whole point of the book if you didn't read from like literally beginning to end. Um so I'm glad I powered. I mean, it was fine, like, because honestly, every time I would read something, I was like, I would go to Mike like, oh my god, this book. It's like, I always like, I'm like, oh god, Emmy had to pick this book, but again, but by the end, I kind of like, okay. I mean, I get the themes of sort of identity, like how the skin color, how because they kept saying like how she's half Egyptian, I guess, which is sort of
Hmm.
the main, like she
Tan,
feels,
yeah.
yeah, she feels displaced because for her idea of beauty is her mother, which is like porcelain skin and like whatever. I get that. I get the whole. I mean, I'm glad that she kind of tied it together, like the mother daughter theme of like sort of there's always that, I don't know if this is a Filipino thing when they say like if you're having a daughter, you can tell because the mother is ugly, like the mother, it sucks up all the beauty of the mother. If you're
Yeah,
glowing, you're
yeah,
having a
that's right.
boy. So I
Yeah.
feel like that kind of ties in how the daughter's almost competing with the mother. Like I get that. The ending, honestly, but the end though, I really enjoyed the ending. Then they did say it's like more of a gothic fairy tale, which is, yeah, it's not horror, it's more gothic. It's always like the dark themes and whatever. Like the colors, always black, white, and red were always the significant colors of everything, right? Like I get that. So overall, like, I mean, I hated it up until the end, up until the ending for me, which redeemed it. I'm like, okay, because I wasn't sure if she was just having a psychosis. I'm like, oh my god, if this was all in her head, I'm gonna throw this book out. Like if everything, because you know what I mean. There's always
I know. I was thinking about that too, right?
Uh,
Honestly.
there's always those twist movies, and then every time I was reading the book, all these horror movies are like popping in my head because I feel like a lot of the images are from different
Or
mhm.
movies.
or did you expect that the ending will be she woke
She,
up, she was in asylum, that she was just imagining it the whole time?
yeah, I
I
felt
know.
like
I wondered the same thing. I wondered the
I
same
was like,
thing.
did she
Yes.
just have a breakdown because her mother died and nothing was? I felt like because they didn't resolve their relationship that she's having this mental, which I feel like I've watched in the movie. So I'm glad there was actually a physical like thing that's happening. The Tom Cruise, yeah, it annoyed me because she kept mentioning it, which I just assumed that the author had like a crush on Tom Cruise growing up. So I mean, it was very detailed, like all the movies that he was in for that time, like, whatever. Like it could have been anybody else. I guess she just picked Tom Cruise. Um, Funny after you guys talking about it, like Elle and Lisa, and then I think other things made more sense to me because you're like, oh, this okay, like with Hudson, I get that. I didn't get how like he kind of fell for her though. I mean, that is sort of kind of weird for me that he
Hmm.
fell for her all of a
And they
sudden because
slept together.
yeah, because I feel like the interactions were very limited and you never knew. I thought he was kind of in it too, like because he was doing he was getting like the treatments and stuff, but not like I guess the underground treatments that they're doing with the people. So that one I kind of that felt weird for me that there was a love story and I felt like that was kind of like thrown in for some reason, but whatevs. I mean, I liked it. I mean, I feel like I guess she just needed some sort of like good character to compare with. I don't know exactly. What else did I mean, yes, like the ending, I just kept thinking the ending redeemed it because I did like the way she described the place. It was very vivid and it was so I can literally see what's happening. So I don't know if you guys have seen this movie called In Fabric. Like so it's pretty much about a killer, like it's about a red dress that kills people.
Oh,
It's like a
Oh
weird
oh
no,
wow, wow.
I
yeah.
have not seen that.
Wow,
Okay.
wow.
Don't
It
kill
was
me,
like a
fabric.
I know. It was
I know, right?
No, but it's sort of okay. Spoiler. It's sort of the same idea that the red dress. Okay, it's funny because the red dress was sort of the main character in the movie, and just and the way that this character sort of killing people. Like the dress is kind of killing like all these people, but it just never like gets destroyed. It just keeps getting passed along. And at the end, spoiler, because I'm in the movie, um, and it seems like the red dress is almost like collecting souls. Like that's kind of like
Oh,
how
Oh my
how
God,
it
oh,
had.
92% Rotten Tomato. Wow, good job,
really?
guys.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Is it a
So
foreign film?
figure.
yeah,
Uh,
British.
it's a
British.
British movie. I don't know. I saw
Yeah.
it in a movie. It was really interesting. Like it's very. It almost didn't. Again, I felt like that was the tone of this whole book because it's sort of random scenes, but there's always the main thing is the red dress. So again, if you
Hmm.
guys have time, watch it because I felt like that kind
Okay.
of reminded me of
And
this
it's
book.
not that old too. It's like only 2018.
No, and there's no like famous. There's no famous actors. It's sort of like an indie
Yeah.
film, and
Netflix
I
is
think it
on
was on.
Netflix or
Could be. I
Is
think
it
I
on
saw it on
Netflix?
Crave. Maybe I may have seen on
okay.
Crave when it came out. But yeah. So it kind of had that feel to me. I did think that she kind of talk too much. I mean, I get the regimen, but she's literally like it bored me though when all the details that she's talking about, like the snail. When I was like, okay, we get it. You like the skin regimens, but it's like, but again, but you're right. But I think they're all actual products, so it made sense that she would talk. But it just felt like because I personally am my only regimen is moisturizer after like
Yeah,
washing my face.
me,
Like I
me
don't
too.
so I don't really understand it,
No,
but
neither do I.
so yeah, but it is a thing, right? As L's like into it, so I think if people and I know so many people into it, like so I get the fascination, I get the addiction almost to it. But yeah, overall it was okay. It was which is what I love about this book club because I would not for the life of me have picked this book, but
Trust Emmy to pick it.
I
Oh
am
my God. But
glad.
yeah,
Something different.
But I'm glad
No,
we're
it's good.
expanding. Yeah, we're expanding our
Yeah,
it
horizons.
is. Yeah,
different
and
is
Yeah.
then
good. Different is good.
it's like
Yeah.
too like it's good that you're picking all those Canadian authors, so we're like supporting our own like folks, right?
I
Oh,
know.
well,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's like because I kind of like elated too because the whole time I was reading, I was like part three, yay! And then, I was like I'm getting there, and then I realized there's part six. I was like, son of a gun, right? But then towards the end, I'm like, oh, I'm part five already. Wow, what is going on? Like that means I guess without me even realizing it, I kind of like I guess I was invested in it. So, but up until
Yeah.
part three, I'm like, oh, I'm almost finished, and then I'm like, what? It's only part three. So like, yeah,
I think yeah, part 1 to 4 I think dragged on, but then afterwards it was like zoom, like the last like I really
the
because I
last
guess
half, I think.
yeah, because it was the beginning was so repetitive and I think it was just sort of yeah, you're right. At least the point it was her descent to madness. So it's just like we, because there's no time frame. Like things were happening back and forth, so you don't know. I did for some reason I thought though that it was in her head, and I thought the twist that one of the mother's boyfriends maybe like sort of abused her at some point. Like I thought maybe that's kind of why she turned into herself a bit. Like all this stuff's being dragged, but then because I was confused. I was like, who is like Tom? Like I thought I'm like, no, it has to be like I thought it was a real person. I'm like, but he's hiding in the closet. So like, get me. I'm like, I was like, he's coming out of the mirror. I was like, I don't think he. I was like, I was confused. I'm like, is it one of the mother's boyfriends who like sort of like
That's a Snow White
abusing
reference.
her?
It's a Snow White.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
Yes,
Snow White
yeah.
reference, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
and how he's sort of like I guess the fake Prince Charming. I don't know exactly. Is that what happened?
I don't
Like,
know, but then ultimately at the end, I don't know. It felt like his role was so minimal. I was like, I don't know. He felt like Seth got pushed to the side at the end of all that. Like I thought he would have
I
done
guess.
something dramatic when Belle was manage to resist all that. But anyways, I thought that
I
was
guess he's
weird.
just like the soul collector almost. Like he just preps them and then I was confused on how he set it up. Like he literally started from when she so to collect I'm assuming they're like they need sort of trauma like to like that's the kind of soul that they're after is like stuff with people with traumas and stuff. So
I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah. So but yeah, overall it was an interesting read. That's what I'm gonna say.
All
That's
right.
it. Thank
Is
you.
okay. Thank you,
I'm
Lainey.
sure I'll think of others thing when we bring it back again. But that's all I can
I
think of
know,
for
me
now.
too, right? Because like
Okay.
even as you're talking, I'm sure Emmy, as she talks, we're probably gonna trigger some more thoughts in my
I
head.
know.
Like,
No, no. I That's why I love this book club as well, because it's even though we're all reading the same book, depending on where we are in our lives, we do interpret it differently. And when listening to you guys, I'm like, sorry, I totally.
The
I was like,
opposite.
what? Yeah, like, it was the opposite.
I'm like, you're off your rockers. Where the heck did you pick that up? Like,
Because okay, well, I guess because I have read her other book, Bunny, right? So I knew what to expect from her. And talk
Mm,
about like you guys expecting it to be not even real at all, because Bunny kind of was like that. One spoiler: are you guys gonna read it? Because if you
no,
are, okay.
no,
Because one
go.
of the characters
No.
in the book, Bunny, ended up not even being real. It was just in her imagination,
Okay.
right? So, like reading this book, I kind of knew that okay, I like don't expect basically like the usual stuff, because she can just like throw you off to her basically. So I did read this not as a horror or anything, but more as a
Yeah,
magical realism book. So I didn't expect it to make sense, if that makes sense. Like I know there'll be a lot of stuff in it um, that would be like out of the realm of reality, right? Because she, even when I saw her, I read her, I watched her interview. She did, as soon as she said it's like a modern fairy tale based on like like Snow White meet Eyes Wide Shut. I kind of knew. Okay, so I knew in a way. So that is so interesting that you guys, like Lisa, that you thought it was a psychosis, like what was happening to her, because that
Hmm.
from that point, like I just took it literally as the effect of the treatment that she was getting, right? Like I never thought that she was going mad. I thought because of that drink, the red champagne that she was drinking all throughout the treatment, that because it affected how you would think, right? It basically distorts your reality, that makes it easy for you or vulnerable for them to do what they wanted to get from you. So for me,
I understood that part. Yeah, I
yeah,
understood
but I
that
didn't
part.
see it
But
as a
yeah.
descent into madness or anything like that at all. Like I just
Mm.
thought this was the effect of what was happening to her, right? So because of
Hmm.
the drugs basically that they were giving to her, and I also find it interesting that she actually just said Snow White meets Eyes Wide Shut, because I thought it was a lot of fairy tales that she kind of, it's almost overwhelming actually if you try to analyze what she was trying to do, because there's even the Red Shoes and the Wizard of Oz, right? And
Hmm.
then like she would even mention Cinderella and with the mannequin being her evil stepsisters, and
right.
Tad, I actually did see some of the characters basically as a fairy tale character. Like Tad was one of the seven dwarfs, right? Who's just basically there to kind of help her out, but not really do much. And then Sylvia as a kind of like the fairy godmother, but not really, And then with the godmother, the grandmother actually was the one who also could be like the one of the fairy godmothers, because when Snow White was taken out, right? Like, oh my god, am I remembering it right? When Snow White was staying. Wait, is that Cinderella? No, no, no. Yeah, Snow White when she was with the Disney version, anyways, right? When she was staying with the.
That's Sleeping
Oh my
Beauty.
god, see what I mean? Yeah, like it's like a
Yeah,
lot, right? I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
wait, what
yes,
fairy tale
yeah,
is
yeah,
that? It's like a lot of different fairy
yeah,
tales
yeah,
that
yeah.
really
It was mushed
that
together.
yeah that much yeah.
Yes.
So it was really overwhelming in a way, like if you try to analyze what she was trying to do,
That's probably why I was confused.
and I know the first few
Lisa.
parts were repetitive, but that's like a literary device, I think, that she used to make it humorous in a way, but not like haha comedy that we know. But it's like that's why I call it like dark comedy, because even the use of Tom Cruise and her obsession with it, I thought was so funny. And the skincare, how it was so detailed. One of the books that influenced her writing this was American Psycho. And if you guys, even if you've seen the movie, right, you know how Patrick Bates was obsessed with skincare. And that's where that part, I guess, of the character Belle was
No,
kind
I
of
didn't know
based
that. No.
on.
Yeah.
You oh,
Didn't
yeah, okay,
watch
so
it.
it's a Bret Easton Ellis book. So yeah,
Yes.
like yeah, when Patrick Bates, the psycho character in that book, is basically obsessed with skincare, and it's exactly like how Belle um like would talk about it, like even watching Marva every night, right, on YouTube, talking about
Mhm.
skincare and how it was you know, like calming for her. And I thought that was sad, because also the fact, even though this dealt with the beauty industry, it really is about the insecurity that we have as women, and that's the bottom line. I find it's not just superficially, obviously it is about the skincare industry, and how really these companies, like especially, you know, the Korean skincare, right? That's so big. Like even I
Hmm.
was into
God, I
that
know.
in the, you know,
Yeah.
when that was at its height. And you know, like how you have all this yeah, like all these products to
But
help you out. And basically what these companies are doing is play on our insecurity,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And Belle, in a way, that's what made her vulnerable to be a part of Rouge, and so with her mother Noelle, because deep down, even though these are beautiful women, they were still insecure about their looks, right? That
Hmm.
right.
they would do anything, and in the end, it, you know, it ended up costing Noelle's life. And for what? For 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 youth, basically, to look young and beautiful. And I thought that was really well done in that sense. And also, talking about the funny part, there was one part here that was actually really. I just want to read this funny part because it really kind of stayed with me. Page 111 on the book. When this was when Mirabelle was at the La Maison de Meduse for the first time, and then the girl was telling her, the lady in red was telling her, she looks at me like, what a question. The only journey that matters in the end, daughter of Noel, retinol. I whisper.
With that.
The soul, a journey of the soul, of course, and the white jellyfish in my palm quivers. I thought that was so funny. Like just those silly parts, and even her calling Tom Cruise, like said Tom Cruise all the time. Like I like, so to me, all because you know, her using the repetition, I thought it was it was so funny. And like the obsession with Tom Cruise, and even in her acknowledgement, right, like she put, you know, like Tom Cruise, even though he's not really in the book, he is kind of like, so she ended up thanking him, because I thought like she is around our age, right? So I really relate to a lot of her references. So the obsession with Tom Cruise, I just want to tell you guys, I still like Tom Cruise, despite the, you know, minus the Scientology stuff. I still like him. So I remember at that age, you know, like 10,
I
11, but thing, I
know.
was like, oh my God. Like, so I totally get it. And yeah, so a lot of the stuff that you guys said, like, I guess because with me, I never took this book as a realistic book off the bat. So even with
No, I
the
didn't
mirror
either.
thing, you know, like with the guy hiding in the closet, like I just like, oh, like that's a part of the whole magicalness of the book. And you know, I did really love the way Mona Awad wrote about the male characters, which is really, I know you guys didn't like, but with me, like his male characters, even with Bunny, um, there's just something romantic about them. Not romantic in the sense of like, you know, like Christian Grey kind of, you know, but more like heroic in the sense that they just really want to help out the female protagonist in their journey. And the best thing is that Belle ended up saving herself because with
Yeah.
the help of her mother. And so there was also a critique of the book that compared this book to the relationship of Demeter and Persephone in Greek mythology. And I would say, I think um
Mm.
Mona Awad should have talked about that more, because that's more about the mother daughter relationship. And I think the whole theme of the book really is about that. And
Hmm.
I actually cried in the end when, you know, with the ocean, when she came out of the ocean, right? And even just the symbolism of her coming out of the ocean. like how it's like a rebirth for her, and with the mother being there when she turned into a person after being, and it actually even makes me cry, like just teary eyed thinking about that now, because as a mother, or even as a daughter, to have that relationship with your mother, who you just find out all this time has been trying to protect you. I thought that was just, I don't know, it just makes me teary eyed thinking about that. It was so, it also reminded me of Little Mermaid in a way, when the in the end, when Little Mermaid became a foam in the end, right? And that's what became of the mother. But in the end, she was happy because she was able to save Belle. And I think I think we can all agree the ending was really great, right? And I think that's why, because in a
Mhm.
way, without even knowing it, we know the catharsis, I guess, that the main character went through after all that, and then to feel that, and then finally to get that resolve that, oh, my mother did love me, and
Mhm.
and in the end, she's the one who's going to be saving the prince in the end. And I thought it was just so perfect, like the symbolism. I love all the symbolism that she did with the ocean, and even her mother smelling like violet and smoke, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I know. But anyways, I just
Are you crying? Are you crying, Emmy?
I know.
It's just a book.
No, but that's good in a way because you're feeling it for us, Emmy. Because I think that was part of the challenge for me. Because I think throughout I'm reading, I guess I was getting so preoccupied to see if each this scene has symbolism. Okay, am I getting it? And then it kind of takes me out of it because, like you said, it's really about magic realism. But then, like Elaine said too, it's like, okay, it's the mirror. Yeah, I get the connection with Snow White and all that, but and then the red shoes. Then I'm thinking, okay, is there something else I'm supposed to be picking up on this kind of thing? So I mean, but that was me. That's all on me. I get that. I admit that's all on me. Like trying to kind of make sure that I'm not missing any of the symbolism. And then funny you said about the ending, like how about with the mother. Yes, I appreciate that. I think the mother finally had the chance to, like Noelle finally had the chance to tell Belle,
Mhm.
but then, but it kind of annoyed me a little too because I'm thinking, really? Because like I mean, you had that's the whole point. I think it's like how I get that like sometimes we don't get the opportunity to do that, right? So she finally had the chance to say her feelings with her daughter, which kind of gave her daughter closure as well, and both of them closure, right?
Mhm.
As far as the relationship is concerned. But it was such a wasted time as well, like for them to not have done
But
that. Like
don't
I
you think too,
guess,
maybe because we are seeing the story from Belle's point of view, that maybe in a way she could be an unreliable narrator as well? Because maybe her mother all throughout the story maybe was more loving, but we don't see it because we see it in how she interprets her
Yeah,
actions, right?
it's in her
Like all
head.
this time,
right,
True.
it wasn't until really at the end when we found out that all this time the mother was protecting her from, like all these men, really, because she is beautiful, right? So in a way, it's like, like, I mean, Belle, right? So the mother was protecting him from all
right.
that in the end. That's why she ended up going to California on her own, and then yeah, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, we all
No,
have different interpretation, obviously. Like,
Yes,
like I said, that's why I love, like, this book club, because even when I read Bunny, I kind of wish I read that in a book club, because there's so many things I think that could have been discussed about that book as well, because it's, just her writing, like Mona Awad's writing style. There's really a lot you can take from it. Like, it's actually like her work. I think you can study in school because there's so much in it. And I think because she also wrote poetry, there's a certain beat to how she writes, like how Michael Ondaatje would write. Like, I find people who write poetry, they have a certain beat to their narration that you're kind of like, holy crap. Like, I wish, it's like, it's the way they just put stuff into words. It's really like an out of body experience sometimes, for me anyway, because it's like it really takes you into a different world that you're like, holy crap. I know, I want to live in this world where maybe bad things happen, but I can still look at it like, what, there is a purpose to it in the end, right? And yeah, yeah.
but it's funny you say that because you are like, I mean, as we all know, Emmy is probably the most avid reader out of all of us. I don't know. I would think you read more varied genre.
Well, just varied
I'm more
genre, I guess.
well, everybody, yeah, more varied. But for me, I'm more into I mean, I do more movies, and for me, like all my references for this book, I feel like are all more. movie related. Like,
Well, hello. What did I say? It's all like TV and movie too. Because
I
that's
know,
like that's the only way I can kind of like paint it in
like,
my head,
That's a different.
right?
right?
That's
Like,
another different form of art form when you find like really great directors as well who you know, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so
because I
I
felt like
mean,
it was. I'm sorry. Go L.
no, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
No, I think, okay, also my background is TV, that I was expecting a twist ending. And I thought maybe like, oh my God, she killed her own mother and this is her coping with her guilt. I thought maybe I'm like, this is her way of coping with her guilt. Like she just
mm,
kind of had a breakdown and blah, blah, blah. But now, but I'm glad, like, I think all like the references that we all kind of have from different things kind of
right.
create one bigger picture than like what I probably imagined in my head as I was reading it. So I am glad that we're
But
talking about it because now I feel like
but
talking with different perspectives, it made more sense. Or the book makes more
right,
sense
yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. And
So
and I think for me it's a compliment when I kind of thought when I kind of made a reference to Twilight Zone because I love the Twilight Zone.
yeah,
Like the Twilight Zone. I mean, it always leaves me in awe. Like if you watch a lot of if you watch any episodes of the Twilight Zone,
yeah,
what it leaves me in awe the time because considering the time it's made
right.
and then the and how it lays and how it talks about issue and at the end of the episode we're like I'm always like wow like what would I have done like it kind of makes you think so I think for me it's a compliment when I kind of when I said this is Twilight Zone meets Death Becomes Her and then Death Becomes Her I love that movie
Yeah,
too right
Mhm.
that definitely entered my
that
picture.
right the obsession with beauty and
right.
youth and
Yeah,
all that
No,
right
but even the scene with
so
Isabella Rossellini, like the actual like
yes
oh yeah,
yes
yeah,
right.
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
I
I felt like
know
the
right.
spa was like that. I felt like the spa was like she's rising
yes,
out of the
Right? That's what I
water.
was thinking. And
Like
even like if you talk about the red drink, I was thinking about the potion that they
yeah,
were
yeah.
drinking,
right,
The red
right?
champagne.
So
That was a great
right.
movie. Yeah,
that was such a great movie. And I think that's what it was, yeah.
I
And I think
definitely
you're right. And I
think
think
that
yeah.
was like influenced by that too.
I know it's so funny because sometimes you don't I mean sometimes it's validating when you talk about like you said, like how the author in the interview talks about what she's thinking about it when she wrote it and then like when you hit the mark in your head I'm like oh okay I'm getting what she's writing right but like yeah overall it's like really some of those I mean it is a good read I think like it was an odd read but it
mm.
was a good read for me because like
It's like a
um
fever dream. That's why I describe her books as right. The
yes
fever dream. It's like
yes
you guys have seen David Lynch. What's his Twin Peaks, right? It's
yes,
Mm.
that.
I
Yes, yeah,
That's
yeah.
know. It's
how
like
her
what
books
I
are.
know. It's like at the end of it, or like, what the heck?
Yeah,
What did I just bother? What
yeah,
in Mona's case? What did I just read? Right?
right.
Because like you said, the red shoes. Like you said, it magically takes her to the
Yeah,
spa, and I'm like, and then because you can tell because I like that piece where that if before sunset that the house just looks
yeah,
decrepit and like abandoned, right?
yeah.
That it
And
only
then
really
when night,
becomes
yeah,
alive.
yeah,
Yes, yeah. So and I did like the like even how the tie-in with the roses and everything because I can almost smell it the way she described the
right.
rose bushes, right? So is it just me but like I think the neck the bracelet from the dad is meant to be a protection
It
like
is.
not
Yeah, it
just like
is. Yeah.
right not
Oh
just
yeah, that's what I was
metaphorically
gonna
Right,
but
the
say.
literally
eye.
right
Right. That's why
Yeah,
in
yeah
yeah,
the
yeah.
end, that's why she was able to
Just
resist
because of the, I
because
thought
she
so.
was
Yeah,
because
because
of
of
wearing it right
the
yeah
yeah,
that's what I thought too. Yeah, I thought the
yeah,
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
but that was kind of I mean that was different like how when she was slowly losing words the more treatment she
yeah. And then
gets
the words that
right
she would use, right?
yeah I
They
mean because
still,
it's pretty close but like you
yeah,
kind of get what she's saying and
yeah.
I'm like that was pretty
But it
clever I must say
even using the words that she would use in error, they actually make
yes
more sense than the words
yes
because
yeah
it's almost like she loses her inhibition, right? So like what she's really feeling is coming
yeah
out. That's
Right.
how I see it. I
yeah
was like, that's
I mean I
why.
think the most my favorite one is like how she's constantly confusing serve with sever
Sever, yeah.
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 yeah because I was like But it was so appropriate too, right? Like you said, right?
Yeah.
Because it's, oh, they're being served now. Oh, they're being severed
Severed,
now.
yeah.
But they're actually being severed,
Yeah, so
really.
it
Like,
makes
you
more
know,
sense
so
actually when she would, yeah, and even with the guy
yeah,
in the end with Hudson, right? When he was because
Yeah, like
he took the champagne obviously, and he was starting to slur his
yeah,
words and the words that he's
yes,
using instead of, oh, he would say love instead of, I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's like it was so
yeah.
good, it was so good.
But and that's the thing with,
HUD.
yeah, this too. I think with Hudson,
I
because
I love that
the way
name.
he was described, it like I couldn't help but think of L.A. Confidential
Yeah,
times, right?
exactly.
Because I guess even his name, I'm like, so yeah, that was, yeah. But I think interesting enough, I don't know why it stood out in my head, but I think more than the scene at the end, with the what's happening with the jellyfish, where we actually what creeps me out is the scene in the store,
With the
like,
mannequin.
yeah, with the mannequins, and then you know how, like, the first time she thought she was working there, and then when she came back the
Yeah,
second time, like, how like all this images following her in the mirror. I
yeah,
mean, I think I found that more creepy
yeah,
than actually with the three mannequins, right? So
yeah,
I was
Her
like,
sisters.
The
yeah, her
sisters.
wicked
Wait,
stepsisters or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
but I was confused about the mother. So I mean, was she aware when she kind of like? I mean, when did she jump or whatever when she fell, or because everybody else kind of it's assumed that everybody
Mhm.
else got eaten. The end spoiler, but she's the only one who got away by dying, pretty much.
She
But
went the way of the roses.
But I
Yeah.
think but that was
yeah.
by accident, right? I think it
So it
was
was
That's
really an
what
accidental. I
accident,
don't
right?
know
that's what I thought, but it also could be like she could have done it on purpose too. You
that
could
she
look at
knew
it
that
that
the
way too.
daughter was
Yeah. But
like
in the end they were
Oh,
going to use her to get to Belle, right? So that
yeah,
could have been
yeah.
yeah,
another interpretation of it. So,
But you know what
like was
surprised me is the fact that the mom was a paying customer who just
yeah.
happened to be
That
selected,
did
right?
surprise me too cuz I thought she was
I
a
know. I
chosen
was
That's
one
like,
that's
too.
why she took out the
yeah,
loans. That's why she took out the loans was to
Yeah.
pay for the treatments,
right.
right?
yeah.
Okay, now when that okay, that just got me. Oh, that makes sense. The loans.
No, it's good. It's good. Now we all
All
discuss
right.
it
The loans. Oh, okay, now that
And
makes
that's why they
sense.
paid off that's why they paid off her debt because the debt was actually to them,
Because
not yeah.
And then that's why she was so special because they
it's
didn't
for
think
her, really.
someone chosen
Mhm.
like her is coming from a paying
Yeah.
customer. Usually it comes from another chosen one, right?
So
So
it felt like Belle was
yeah,
gonna come there one way or another, right? Because
One way or
like
another, yeah. Yeah.
like Seth was already like prepping her sort of to end up there, kind
yeah.
of thing,
See, that
right?
makes so
Like
much. I wish I looked up what Seth means because I thought it was just so random. But I guess now that you said after you looking up what Seth
Yeah.
means, that makes more sense. That makes more sense why she picked that name, right? Yeah.
no, because I could just call me Seth. I was like, is that mean like demon or something? I was like,
They use that name with Buffy too, right? Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something. I
is
think
it
they use
Seth?
that name
Yeah,
Seth too, yeah.
he was
Oh
like the
yeah,
Oh, the
they
silver
did.
anointed.
haired
Yeah,
guy,
they're right.
I
right?
Yeah.
think, yeah.
There is some
Right.
Seth
story
was
about Seth.
Seth was an interesting character though, because in a way you can also see him as a basically he's just a reflection of Belle, right? So
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
him to be a real entity in the end was really interesting.
Right.
That it got
Yeah.
that he was actually manifested as a real character. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
think his character is the one sort of like reflects your inner kind of like with that kind of if you lose your inhibitions, what are you really thinking kind
yeah.
of thing? Like what you really feel. I
What
feel
really
like
you really desire? Yeah,
yeah.
Right.
Kind of like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
devil, right? I feel like the
yeah,
sort of he's like the
Yeah.
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 devil,
It's
like
almost like that version of the because like the with Charlize Theron the movie like when she was the evil witch because
Snow.
the mirror
Yeah,
the guy
Snow
in the
White.
I
mirror is
was
actually
thinking of
more
that. Snow White and the
oh
right because
okay.
Huntsman. Yeah,
yeah because the guy in the mirror is more malevolent
yeah,
really
yeah.
right
Okay.
so but I know because I think that's Noah I kind of got that reference but then I keep thinking see I totally missed what you said Emmy because I'm thinking where are the seven dwarfs who among these are the seven dwarfs I was trying to find like trying to like I said I mean I'm not expecting little people
It
but
was
at the same
sad.
time I was
It's
like
like
where are the seven dwarfs like so
No, but
anyways
that's just my interpretation too, right? You can totally interpret. That's why I like this book too, because you can totally interpret it your own way, right? Like Tad could be any he could even be like, like in Little Red Riding Hood, he could be the axe person who, who kind of helped Little Red Riding. Like he could be like, that's why, yeah, we could interpret it in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Not just,
actually thought there was something gonna be more with
mm,
him too, because like I
yeah,
think, because remember he's the one who started noticing like the change,
yeah,
right? So, but then at the end, all he just said was like he also started seeing the change in Noel, and
yeah,
but then I guess he was confused by the whole thing.
yeah. So he
Yeah,
So
I
literally
just
didn't know anything. Yeah.
no,
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 I felt like Tad was sort of like epitome, like at least kind of just at least I feel like redeemed in a way that at least by the end the mother had somebody good who really cared about her, like even though he
Who
wasn't
watched
able to
out. Yeah.
save her.
yeah.
Yeah. Who
Yeah,
watched
But
out
then
like
for
he
her.
still,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah. And then Sylvia, I guess Sylvia cared for her too,
Yeah.
right? It was just, yeah,
yeah, like I think the other people around her were genuine, and I feel like as Sylvia, like she just did it like her own way, and I think and you're right when you say that Belle's unreliable because even what you're hearing from her side, she was 10 years old, I guess, when like all the stuff that you're hearing, and
Yeah.
the mother didn't really. I think okay, the mother was, I guess, probably the worst thing she is probably slutty. I don't know because of insecurity,
And
but she
ambitious.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, ambitious, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like maybe she got neglected that way because the mother really wanted to become famous,
Mm.
but
but
she
is
was
it
never
just me?
really
Because like the
portrayed as a
mom,
bad person. Was she? I
no,
can't
it's not. But
remember.
she also kind of remind me of Who's Afraid of, oh no, where's whatever happened to Baby
Baby
Jane?
Jane.
Because like you know how
Yes.
it's kind of like I think she never really reached that status in her head, like the becoming the starlet that she was just always that. Then she ended up. I mean, I think for me the mother story was really quite sad, right? Because then she just really found this man who will kind of like you know who will spend money on her
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
right? But she wanted to be a movie star
Yeah.
and all that. So yeah.
Oh,
They're
guys, we're
turning
over
into
an
a movie
hour.
anyway, which is good, right?
What?
Are
Rouge?
they?
Bunny and Rouge, they got bought by J.J. Abrams, I think.
Oh,
Rouge for sure.
Oh.
J.J. Abrams, Sky Robot.
Oh.
Is that his company?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Is that his?
J.J.
Oh yeah, yeah, that
Abrams, I
is his.
think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
Oh, that would
interested to
be
watch it
Mm.
interesting.
Oh,
because the
so nice
imagery is very
segue.
nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought this is a nice segue to like who we thought would can play the characters, I guess, in the movie, or who did we picture in our head when.
So when
I
she said
I
Princess
actually didn't picture
I
Jasmine,
I didn't
anyone.
picture anybody as
right?
usual.
I imagine like the live action Princess Jasmine, which is
All
the
right, because of
Aladdin.
the Disney reference,
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
What's her name?
Her. Yes,
I
yes,
think it was
yes.
her Naomi Scott or something.
yeah,
Hold
she's so
on.
pretty.
She is pretty.
Smile
Yes.
too, right?
And
She's in that movie now. Smile too, horror.
is she? Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I felt like she's who I imagine for Belle because
Mm.
like because I felt like the Egyptian was real. I mean, I don't think this girl's
Yeah.
not Egyptian, but she has. I feel she could pass for Egyptian.
Yeah.
Like,
The thing, I didn't even do that. I just thought as an actress, but that Prince Naomi makes sense. But because I actually pictured Anya Taylor Joy, but instead of being
oh,
Princess Jasmine, I mean, like just actually playing. But she's not like she's
Oh
literally very Caucasian
no,
looking, right? Yeah,
yeah.
she's really fair.
yeah.
So
But just as a acting chops, I thought she can do it. So
right. Well,
Right.
she can do it. Yeah, she's really a good actress, right? So
So you can imagine. I imagine Olivia Wilde for some reason as a mother. I don't know why. Like she popped in my head for some reason.
okay, who did I
Because
Hmm.
picture?
I you reminded me of like this.
Okay,
What's
Blanchett.
that
I think
movie?
it was who I figured.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh
That's a good
yeah,
Kate
one.
Blanchett. I think. Yeah.
That's a good one.
that kind of pretty bitchy angular look, kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like
Ridiculous.
no, I actually almost imagine. I think at some point I did think of Naomi Watts. I think I don't know
Mm,
why.
Naomi
Oh yeah, that's a
Watts.
good one.
Naomi
Yeah.
Watts, I actually pictured as a younger Belle because of the whole David Lynch thing, and Mulholland Drive, right? I just
Oh,
right. So I
oh
thought,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my
right.
god, like
Yeah,
if he
yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
half
yeah, yeah.
Egyptian, but
Yeah.
if you put Naomi Watts in black wig, she might.
She does not
Oh
look
my
at.
god, like a young, right? A
I
young Naomi.
Yeah.
young Naomi.
Yeah.
But
Well,
she's
I
probably
feel
too
like
old for
they
that.
have to look like a darker or something because they
Yeah,
can't.
no,
That's a
it's
big
true.
part of the
With Belle, yeah,
story.
yeah. Because like I
Yeah.
mean, because she has that olive
Yeah, because she made a big deal about it
olive
too in the book,
complexion,
right? Yeah,
right?
but
Yeah,
she's darker.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. But then I kind of thought about it too because I'm thinking, how, oh, funny you said it's getting turned to a movie because I'm thinking if this is going to be turned into a movie because she got lighter and lighter, she got lighter skin
that's
throughout, right?
right.
And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, how are you going to, like, I'm thinking, how will this be a movie? Would somebody start getting like kind of
Yeah,
like, I mean, I hate to say it, unfortunately, would they do a black skin treatment on the a white actress so that they look fair in the end? I'm thinking, which is gonna be wrong on every level, but I don't know. That just popped in my head because I'm thinking, because like, how can you
yeah,
lighten someone's skin, right?
Yeah.
But it's
So,
intentional at this point, like how they think like she looks odd though. Like she's like they're like
oh, that's
I
true. So
know.
I guess like really with someone with olive complexion, if it's that, you know,
Yeah.
it's so funny too. You know, what pop up in my head too because I'm so old school. Like Sophia Loren, like kind of like
Oh,
oh
yeah,
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 Sophia
yeah.
Loren
yeah.
as the mom, right? Because I was like, because she almost had that. She can play that role where like she's kind of like
Let me
this
Google
mom.
Egyptian actresses.
I
I
know
know.
I
I
was
googled that.
looking.
I googled.
I
I googled
Oh,
half Egyptian, half French Canadian.
but they
They're so
actually all
funny
look
though.
Caucasian anyway.
I know, right? Only
Okay, so
like
it could be anyone
No.
then.
they do have that like the I think what happens they almost have the Mediterranean look, right?
Yeah. So okay, that could
Yeah,
be. That should be.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know anybody who's like famous though, so should we
Oh,
go into
this one too almost looks
ratings?
like this one
Yes,
person almost looks like
ratings.
a Lexus Bled, whatever her
Yeah,
name is.
yeah. So
Oh.
Right? Did you see that?
yeah, yeah. Hmm. Alexis,
Okay.
but although she is kind of fair still, though,
She's
right?
very fair,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
she's
she is. Yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah.
You need more ethnic looking because I feel that was the whole point that she's like too ethnic. Like she took
Mm-hmm.
more after the father, right?
It'll be like a young version of George Clooney's wife, I think, in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, this girl
yeah.
May
Right?
El Getty, British Egyptian actress May El Getty,
May Elgeti.
and May Calamay. Oh, May Calamay actually. May Calamay.
May.
May Calamay.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
I can see
yeah,
that.
for sure. For sure, yeah.
Because I think
She's
as like
yeah.
people
Yeah.
forget, I think it's like really they are Caucasian, right? They are Caucasian. They just
Yes,
have the olive
that's true.
skin.
That's so
So
true.
they're
Really?
like
They
yeah, they're
Thinking
consider them
about it,
Caucasian?
yeah.
yeah. If you think about it,
Really?
yeah, they're yeah.
I wouldn't think so, but okay.
It's almost like but I think people forget. I think that's what it is. People forget, like people. Let's say some people of Egyptian background or like Iranian background or like they look Caucasian.
Mm.
There's that big hula baloo, right, on Netflix when they did that show
Which
about,
one?
oh my gosh, who's that Egyptian, like Cleopatra, right? And they hired a black British actress. There's so much
Oh,
controversy about it.
But I think yeah, people forget. I think like I think especially from that part of the world could be both, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's yeah,
So
Egypt. It's
that's
so many
interesting. But I could see, yeah, was it May El
Kalamawi, but
Okay.
it says Kalame. Okay,
okay.
Kalamawi. Okay, she's so
Okay.
pretty.
Should we go to
Yeah.
ratings or?
Oh,
Lisa wants it to
Lisa.
end now. Let's go. She just
No,
do you
I,
have plans? She
no, I
wants
think
it
we're
to
almost
end.
over an hour, so that's all.
Oh, we
I think
are.
we're
We
over
are
an
over
hour,
now.
yeah.
That's okay. Okay, we'll do ratings.
Okay,
Oh
we'll do.
yeah,
All
Yes.
it's
right.
here.
Okay. So we'll go the
Okay.
order we did the review then. So Lisa, L, and
Okay.
then Lainey.
Oh,
Okay.
me, okay.
Lisa.
Okay, so for me, because it's not my typical book, and you made me think. Thank you. And it was really weird. It
Okay.
was a weird read for me. I would give it a 2.75, so it'll be a 3 on Goodreads.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Lysol. Okay, L.
Um, yeah, I don't know how to rate this because I guess, like I said, the writing is good, but it's just usually when I write, it's not just. I mean, I write, it's not just about the rating, but I mean the writing, but also how it made me feel and everything.
Hmm.
Um, it the writing is probably 5 star for me, but overall, I think the book is 3 stars. So I still like it. So
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
yeah.
Miss Ella and Miss Lenny.
Okay, the first half for me is honestly what that was a 1 star read for me. The first half because I just literally like hated like the girl so much, but I knew it was intentional, and the last 2 chapters maybe redeemed it for me because everything made more sense, and I'm glad she didn't go down the route of a kind of weird ending. So 3 stars for me. I rate it
All
3 stars.
right. And for me, okay, I'm gonna just say it. Yeah. So I really loved it. So it's 5 stars. 5 stars
Okay.
for me.
I
Yeah.
Yay!
Shocker.
I thought
Yay!
Gary's like 5 plus.
Yes.
Yay.
So I
Okay.
found a new favorite author anyway.
All right.
And she's from my alma mater. Yes. We
Yay!
both love that
Well,
poetry professor too. Professor
okay,
Olshan,
just
wherever you are.
okay, just say
I
the
love you.
school and say the school and say the professor's name.
She
And
Yeah,
already
oh, I
just
said
went
it.
to York University, Glendon College, and the professor's Professor Barry Olshan, Poetry and Poetics. I don't know if he's still teaching. Professor Olshan, you really
okay.
made me love poetry even more. So,
Aw.
Yay.
yay.
Okay, good choice,
That's
Emmy.
it.
Good pick. It made
Yeah.
us think, so
I
it's
know
good
it
Yeah,
pick.
is a
good
good
pick.
choice,
Yeah, good
Emmy,
pick.
but it's funny.
Okay.
But
Well,
no, no, it was a good pick, but it was so funny. It goes to show how much I really want to shift gears, and which made me read the Kiss quotient, and like
So I
I mean, I
told you
know
she
totally
read it. I
unrelated.
oh,
told
so
you
you did
she
read
read
it.
it. Yeah, I
Because I
told
know
Oh,
you
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 she
rated
read
it
it.
in
did.
5 stars.
Yes, he rated it
Lisa,
five. He
Lisa
Oh my
did.
told us.
He
god.
Lisa
rated it.
told
It.
us. Lisa
Five
told
So,
plus
us.
Yeah,
plus
I
plus.
told you.
Like
oh,
yeah.
It was
oh,
good. It
we
was
Because
were
funny,
Elaine
right?
loved
we
it.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love that book.
Elaine loved
we
it too.
Love it.
we
Oh
didn't
my
Love
god.
it.
believe
I
we didn't believe
Told.
go ahead,
Lisa.
Elaine.
Okay, Lisa, I guess you weren't lying. We just said
I
Elmer.
Oh no,
wasn't.
no.
Lisa told
I
you.
mean,
Lisa.
I
Lisa
told
told
you.
you.
um, I must have missed that part, but I was actually it is in my TBR. But like when and then Elaine reminded me when she read it, and oh my god, I love it so much. I actually reread it right after. So
Oh, you like
Oh,
it that much. That's cool.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So okay, is it my turn now?
yes.
Yes, darling, your go
Okay.
time.
Yes.
All
Elle
right.
is picking the book for next week,
Yes.
next month.
Well,
Sorry.
it's funny. We're doing this a little differently because typically for those watching, when whoever picks it is usually a surprise for everybody. Not so much this time because the book was on sale, so I gave everybody the heads up. So that people can get it on the sale price. But before I kind of introduce the book, interestingly enough, I was gonna pick a very dark male romance,
Okay.
um but considering like that this the book with that Emmy we just read from Emmy's pick, and then when I kind of read a few chapter of the dark romance, even I'm thinking I said to myself, okay, this is I think a little too dark for me, so then I can just imagine how much too dark it will be for you guys. So
Oh,
then yes, so because I have to kind of like read like very slowly because it's really dark. It's been a while since I read a dark romance.
Oh, what?
When
Which
I
one is it?
the one by Nyla K,
Ah,
yeah, it's called Distortion or something. But apparently, oh, and then that's one thing too. It's apparently there's a lot of spoilers, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't think we can do that because we talk about spoilers all the time in our book. So apparently, that's the kind of book that you need to really go in, like um
okay. With
Like
not
without
knowing
without
anything.
blank. Okay.
knowledge, without knowing anything, but anyways, so then I picked this book instead, so which I know kind of like up Elaine's Laney's alley. So my pick of the next month is like spoiler alert by Olivia
yay!
Dade.
I'm all
Have you
about
read
the
her work before?
BBW.
I have never no.
uh No, I have not I've not read her work. I have a couple of her books, and like actually this one, and then the third book in the series. Um, she popped up on my radar because of book Twitter. So I follow a lot of bloggers who love her work, and like Lainey said, because her female characters are big, bold, beautiful women.
Oh, are they?
So
Oh, that's
yes,
Yeah, yeah, I
cool.
saw
yeah.
some of her books. Yeah, they're all like about, yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So,
I'm all about the
so you
chub.
know,
I'm all about the chub love.
job, job love. So yeah, that's our next read. So spoiler
Yay!
Spoiler
alert by
alert.
Olivia Dane.
All right.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
this was a serious and fun episode. It's perfect for Halloween, actually, for October. This
Ooh,
is a good
yes.
October
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
chat.
yes. Agree. Yes.
Okay, Emmy, you wanna sign us
Okay,
off?
yeah. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. If you've made it this far,
If you made it
I
this
know,
far, you made it
we,
this far.
yeah, we get into rants and whatever. But yeah. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and we're at 30 something subscribers right now, guys. Please help us to get to
Yay!
40 before the end of the
Yay!
year,
Yes.
please. We
Yes,
really do appreciate
please.
every view that we get. Every, you know what, if you even just want to comment and say, maybe suggest a book that you guys want us to read that we haven't read before, that will also, we're also welcome to suggestions. So yeah, as
Yes.
always, if you guys have any
But
questions.
whisper bonus if it's romance.
But
All right.
it doesn't have to be, I guess.
Doesn't
I
have to be.
guess.
No, no, it doesn't have to be. That's why I said bonus if it
Bonus. All
is.
right,
But
that's true. But yeah, so thank you everyone. And as always,
Okay.
if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.